It's the Punchline Podcast, baby. We are back. Let's get all the admin stuff out the way. Make sure you like it. Make sure you subscribe it. Make sure you send it to your mum, the pensioner who lives next door. I don't care if they don't like MMA. Send it to them anyway. This is the review of UFC 280, but we're doing something a little bit different today on episode 2. We've got some special guests. We have Mr. Elliot still.
Hello. I'm very excited to nerd out and talk.
Yes, we're going to talk shit. We've got the little racist dollies with us today that people can throw if they get upset.
Anime figures too.
Yes, Dragon Ball with green hair. Interesting.
Broly.
Okay. And we also have Bella Ho.
Hi, guys.
By the way, they're both comedians and not just random people.
Yeah, we didn't just find them on the street. Yeah. Bella, tell us about your intro to MMA.
So basically, I'm having it today.
Right.
I like the idea of learning about it.
Sure.
And I think I can, just inject some well-needed estrogen into the conversation.
That sounds great.
It's very important. If you had to guess,
yeah,
what the UFC is about,
Ultimate Fighting Club.
Close. Championship.
Championship.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And what would you say happens in the Ultimate Fighting Championship?
Just like a pyramid scheme of like punches.
It's a
pyramid scheme.
There's a ranking as well.
With Dana at the top of it. Yeah.
And no one ever really wins.
Yeah.
Everyone leaves with concussions.
Like a tournament.
Yeah,
A tournament of
Of such.
It used to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Of such. Well, I'll tell you what, right? At the end of the podcast, we will reassess and see how your perceptions have changed or not changed, and whether you will actually, because I remember you saying outside that you are actually looking for a career in fighting.
Yeah.
So we'll see whether
It's
you
a
want
hobby at the moment.
Yeah.
You know?
So today we're going to talk about UFC 280, and I'm guessing you haven't watched it. So what your role here today is, if you hear anything ridiculous or something that you feel like will need clarifying for the casual to non-existent fans, you chime in and you stop the toxic masculinity bromance that's about to occur.
Okay.
This isn't even toxic. It's pathetic masculinity.
It's incel Reddit masculinity.
Yeah, okay. Sick.
All right, let's start with the main event, which was Islam Makhachev versus Charles Oliveira. Elliot, how did you see it?
Sambo beat Jiu-Jitsu for the the millionth time now. This is basically like everyone used to get hyped between Ferguson v Khabib, which never happened. And thank God it didn't happen when you look at the way Ferguson dropped off and the way that Khabib just dominated everybody in that division. And now this was kind of how that would have probably have gone. I love that you're just nodding your head. This is how that would have probably gone, because it's you can't play, like a guard get like for Oliveira to be tapped the way he's been tapped from top pressure like that it doesn't make jiu-jitsu look good, man. It's the Brazilians. You look at what's happened at ADCC, it's all the Americans dominating. Then now Gordon Ryan said that the Europeans are going to dominate against the Brazilians when it comes to grappling because of wrestling. Like, if you've just got pure jiu-jitsu now, you're fucked. In my opinion.
You have a background in jiu-jitsu yourself.
I would barely call it a background. I'm a white belt in jiu-jitsu.
That's one more belt than the two of us.
Just to be
tap
clear,
everyone out here.
in the cage,
Yes.
can people do 2 different types of fighting?
Oh.
Yeah, of course they can, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
someone does jiu-jitsu, but if you just do jiu-jitsu, you're fucked.
You are,
Yeah, some
You
people
need
made
other
it work.
skills.
Like Damian Maia made it work for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, Damian Maia was just pretty much jiu-jitsu.
That's
but
interesting.
Yeah. So some people make it work, but that's becoming more of a thing of the past. Now, generally speaking, you have to have what we call a well-rounded background in martial arts. So you need
Balanced portfolio.
Striking.
Yes.
Fighting
Striking,
techniques.
grappling, jiu-jitsu, everything.
Yeah.
Grappling.
Grappling is basically like...
Sounds quite philosophical, you know?
It's very philosophical. It gets very philosophical.
You'll be better to explain this one.
For grappling, like the 2 main grappling types, I guess at the moment would be, I think to be any decent mixed martial artist, you need to have a good wrestling and boxing base before anything else. That's why they'll get too complicated. But you need to have good wrestling and boxing. But something like wrestling is more, how do I get someone to the ground and hold them to the ground? And jiu-jitsu is a lot more, how do I submit someone from the ground, make them tap, through a tap ball.
What does that mean?
So they're like break their arm, put them to sleep.
They don't have to break their arm, but like extend their arm in a way where you have to tap from the pain or
so
choke them
tap
out.
means time out.
No,
Give up.
No, it means
Give
the
up.
fight's
Give
over.
up.
That
yeah,
means
fight's
it's over.
over.
Yeah.
Unless you're Chael Sonnen.
So you basically good one. So okay,
So basically, the main event on Saturday,
Okay.
some guy put a guy in a choke, and then the guy who was getting choked out tapped out.
Does anyone ever die?
No.
No one has
No,
died
not
yet.
No one's
Not
died
yet. Not yet.
Not in the UFC, but people have died in more shadier organizations.
Yeah.
People die more during weight cuts than they do the actual
Yeah.
fight. The weight cut's the worst part of the fight.
Yeah.
So to
What's
get
the weight cut?
to get to a particular weight,
That
so
sounds like dieting.
Yes.
more or less, but they
involved.
sweat everything out. So they'll stop eating fiber and any water retention, lose about 15 pounds in a day,
What?
go in and weigh in.
Wait, I want to do this.
It's great. So
Wait,
basically,
you guys have been gatekeeping the secret. What do you mean?
it's great.
You're saying I can lose 15 pounds in one day?
Yes, you can. But you do have to fight someone on the next day.
Yeah, and
Okay.
they put it all back on pretty
It's the
pretty
best diet
immediately.
pill you ever have.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if I've got like a high school reunion, it's a really good idea.
Yeah, wait
Yeah.
up.
You know how they do it?
How?
Surprisingly, they drink a ridiculous amount of water.
Okay, well I can do that.
Yeah.
Like 8 liters in a day.
I can do that. I had a year drinking a gallon of water a day.
What's a gallon? Like 4?
5?
Really?
4 and a bit, yeah.
Okay, you can do 8.
Yeah,
You
I
can
could
do
do
8.
eight.
Drinking 4
Well,
liters
I-
of water a day.
Yeah, sometimes. Will I drown my organs?
Johnny, do you mind pulling up a photo of Conor McGregor at 145 weighing?
Basically, Bella,
What's
there's
145 pounds?
so
Yeah.
basically, I'll tell you
about-
loads of different
And how
weight
tall
classes.
is he?
He's
5'8".
about 5.
Oh, so he's a short king.
Yeah.
He is a short
Yeah,
king.
he is a short
So there's
king.
a lot of different weight classes: heavyweight, light heavyweight, and basically you have to like register at that weight to fight.
In
'Cause,
that
like,
class.
Yeah, because basically people will use their weight as an advantage and miss weight by a couple pounds, and it'll be like a slight advantage. So they have weight classes to make sure no one's basically cheating. Like, so
But you have to cut for this weigh-in.
so you have to cut. So that's the thing.
Oh,
like,
and then you gain loads of
then
weight.
you'll gain loads of weight. But yeah,
to
so
be deceptively heavy.
yeah, so some people will
Spot
still
on.
be heavier than others.
That's the issue.
It's
So, yeah.
insane that it's allowed. Like
Yeah, that
it's
sounds-
sanctioned cheating basically.
That's almost a bit like doping vibes.
They all dope as well.
So yeah, so some people would literally they'll cut down to 155 pounds for the fight, but then they'll balloon back to like 185 pounds, and their opponent still might be less, like 170.
Okay, so I feel like you guys haven't actually told me how to do it.
How to
Yeah.
do it? Well,
Diet.
you done it.
Yeah, I done 5 kg in 5 days before.
That's Conor McGregor who just made 145.
Whoa.
So he looks skin and bone. And then
Yeah.
he probably,
Does.
the next day, probably put on 20, 30 pounds. It's not safe.
Yeah, but I don't care about safe. I care about looking emaciated.
Yeah.
I was doing a Muay Thai fight and I dropped down to what did I go in at? I'm fucking fat cunt now. I'm 94 now, but I dropped down to 73.
Wow.
I was fighting at 73. This was before I'd ever been like in the 90s, and I had to lose 5 kg in 5 days, and it was
hard.
horrible, and it was so stupid as well. I should have just gone in overweight because no one gave a shit as well. Like
Right.
no, yeah, I took in too much conflicting information from people, which happens like early, like in the lower, very like this is the lowest level.
Okay.
And everyone at your gym is either like some like person who comes from some mad migrant family where fighting is life and this is all there is to it. And I'm like some middle class child who just wants to get in shape for Ibiza. and now I'm like going to fight some Polish dude. And you take in too much conflicting advice. But I
Right.
did bath, dead sea salt in it, no cold water. You
That's
let it
painful, man.
cool down a half hour in it. You'll come out 3 kg
hot
like
bath?
yeah, no cold water. You just let it cool down slightly. You have to get in. It's horrible.
Like
And
a
you're sitting there
sauna.
for like 30 minutes and you'll just sweat everything out.
I see really jacked guys sometimes at the gym on like the Stairmaster going really fast, wearing like loads of hoodies and tracksuits.
They're cutting weight for something.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're either bodybuilders and they're trying to cut weight to make their muscles look more defined, or they're fighters.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so that's why they're doing it. Or sometimes they'll wear a sweatsuit in the sauna, which is uncomfortable to be around. Someone who's doing
well,
that.
it's almost verging into self-harm. It's like
It is self-harm. It
Yeah.
absolutely is. It's very dangerous.
I don't know anyone who does fighting that hasn't got an eating disorder. Like
No.
myself, like even at my hobbies, myself included. Like when I got injured and couldn't train for 6 weeks, I ate everything under the sun.
Yeah.
And I put on, I think, like 9 kilos in 6 weeks. And now I've got to like go back down to like, and you just, all you do is if you eat something and you just punish yourself for it. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
everyone who does it has some fucked up.
Relationship.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
food.
yeah, absolutely.
So the guys who were fighting this weekend, the main event, Islam Makhachev and Charles Oliver, they're two very big dudes.
Right.
And what was big about this fight is we're talking about those conflicting styles. This was a really interesting matchup because it was Sambo, which is one form of grappling,
Sambo.
versus Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Sambo is very similar to wrestling, right?
Okay.
In essence.
It's basically from Russia. It's a Russian kind of. Russians will do. Basically, they said to Islam Makhachev, "What do you think about Charles's black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?" And he was like, what is black belt, brother? Like, what's black belt? I have red belt. Tomorrow I get gold belt. That's basically what he said.
Yeah.
And they said he would walk through him, and he basically just walked through him.
It was impressive.
Yeah.
It was impressive. I'll be honest, right? As soon as we were speaking about this after the fight, right? When Charles came into the octagon and he was shaking hands with everyone,
didn't like
I was like,
that.
that's a bad sign.
I didn't like that
Yeah,
vibe.
I didn't like that either,
Yeah.
especially after he'd been like, I would kill him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause at
But,
the
It was
press
conceding.
conferences, he was doing almost Conor McGregor kind of vibe. He was, very brash,
Yeah.
He's wearing the sunglasses indoors and shit. And I don't know, like the team Khabib, for years they said like, oh, Khabib takes down wrestlers, takes down Olympic wrestlers. Charles submits black belts. Islam submits black belts in the gym. Everything they say is true.
Yeah.
Like now it's like it's not just myth anymore. They're just that good. They're just different. They're built differently.
I hate to quote him. I don't like him as a person at all, Andrew Tate, but he did put it perfectly when he's like, their life is train and a law. That is it. That is their life. Like they are just like very to the book religious people. And like you saw it afterwards, like the way they crushed the beef with Kamzat. Khabib's
Oh
like,
my God, that was so funny, man.
Khabib's just gone to Kamzat like, brother, we're both Muslim. Like, how are you fighting another Muslim at the event? Like, that they just had
was
that chat.
Chechnyan dictator in the middle of them as well?
Yeah.
He's like, no, you guys ain't fucking this up. They already think bad of us. We're gonna like.
Well,
squash this.
he don't care that they think bad.
Yeah. they squashed it like Crips and Bloods. It was such a-
It was on his like East Coast, West Coast.
yeah, it was legit. Yeah.
You know what's funny, right? I've always said, if you see a group of Muslim Russians taking photos with their arms like this, right, in the street, cross the road. Those guys can fight.
Bro, the last thing you want to hear is, brother, why you say these things?
I'm sorry.
As soon as someone from that neck of the world calls me brother, I'm like, fuck this, man.
They're different. They're
I'm
different.
not getting involved.
Or if they have the beard without the mustache.
Yeah.
That's like a short. They will put you in a headlock.
Mustache. Oh man, that beard with that mustache is terrifying, man.
They're such, but those Dagestanis, man, they're something else.
Do you know what the beef was about?
So, Hamza and Abu Bakr Nurmagomedov,
Yeah.
they got into an altercation.
Do you know how it started though?
No,
Instagram, weren't it, or something?
Yeah, basically that Ramzan guy, the Chechnyan dictator,
right.
he basically put out a post about Khabib saying that Khabib wasn't really Russian. He was more of a UFC project. He didn't really back Russia because he never had the Russian flag. And then on the Instagram live, basically Hamza put a comment like, I'll smash this guy.
I kill, brother, listen, don't talk badly about Chechnya, brother. I smash anybody.
So then Abu Bakr did a post about how Hamza's changed and how, he's a bit two-faced and how, in person he's all like, Assalamu alaikum, brother, Assalamu alaikum. But then on Instagram, he's being a bit of a, he's hyping to them. So basically they're shaking hands. Do you see they were actually shaking hands?
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, in the
Hamza
middle of
switched.
handshaking, Hamza just pushes him. And then Abu Bakr threw a punch. And then Khabib's just looking from the cage.
I love how Khabib was sitting on the cage like, I've been here before, bro.
Khabib
Khabib's just like, bro, like my bro just won a belt. I ain't doing anything today.
He really wanted to jump that fence. It was in his back of his. I've done this before.
Yeah.
Khabib ain't got no, but do you know what? Like Khabib is like, he's just so like religious. He ain't gonna do that. Like especially in the setting they are. You know
Yeah,
what I
the
mean?
Conor one was different.
The
It's like he had to fucking defend.
Conor one as well. He was pissed off that Conor tapped. Like he wanted a fight, and Conor didn't bring the fight. And Conor like that. That was that was that thing there when you like everyone was like, "Fuck, Khabib's about it. His whole team's about it." Like there,
Yeah.
he made Conor look silly. But there, I also think like comes up. I'd fucking love to see him get smashed, man. I'd love. Yeah.
You know what I was thinking? When I saw all of that unfold, in my head straight away, I thought Islam versus Hamza will be a great fight. However, then I saw them the next day at their mini embassy meeting.
Hamza's huge.
Hamza is huge.
About weight cutting.
He's a middleweight.
Yeah.
He's not a welterweight.
No.
Because he stood next to
Why he
Islam.
misses weight all the time?
And Islam's a big lightweight. They are they're different sized men.
I like Hamza. A lot of people won't like him because, like I don't think the Khabib fans might not like him because he's not humble like those guys. But I actually like that he's a bit of a combination between McGregor and Khabib. It's like if you got the DNA of both of them and made a perfect test tube fighter, that would be Hamza. And,
I think he's a closeted McGregor fan.
McGregor fan. He's a bit of a McGregor fan. Yeah.
But who's he like? When you look at, I'm not like he's obviously a very talented fighter and a very good fighter. And I know you could say this about Islam before the fight. Yeah. Who is he beaten?
Maybe Gilbert Burns.
Just about.
True.
Just
but
about.
It was a big step up.
Gilbert gave it. Gilbert was like gave him that if it bleeds we can kill it kind of vibe. You know.
It's not just about who he beat; it's about how he beat them. Like no one's done that to Li Jingliang. Like he destroyed him and he carried him like a baby, destroyed him in like a minute. Same with Kevin Holland, destroyed him in like a minute and a half, and no one's done that to Kevin.
No, Kevin Holland can't wrestle for shit though. You saw it against Brunson. Like everyone talked about Holland v comes out when they're both coming up. That's going to be the fight. But no one talks about Kevin Holland.
Brunson like what 5 rounds? Was it a 5-round fight?
You know what it is? I think because Hamzat's been so dominant in these fights, I feel like we've become a little bit desensitized to how ridiculous what he's doing is, because these are still tough guys.
Yeah.
Bella, we'll go to any questions from what you've heard?
We've all been desensitized.
We have. When we went on that thing about it's like the conversation started getting political, but we're clearly still talking about fighting.
Yeah.
Where was your head at when you heard all of that?
I was there. It was there.
Yeah.
That was what my brain was. I was thinking, okay, obviously let's just take a back seat
Yeah.
and ride the wave of the storm.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
So, what do you think Hamza and Khabib should do going forward?
Are they the ones that fight each other?
No, they've not.
They're like the leaders of their tribe.
Yeah.
Right. I think just set a good example.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
And it's, I feel like we can all get bogged down in the surrounding peripheral politics and shit. And we just need to focus on the sport, which is why we're all here in the first place.
Do you know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
There's a beef between them because one's from Dagestan, one's from Chechnya, and they have their own political beef. So basically it. But they should just remember to, uphold the values of the sport and
and Islam.
There is that like undertone, like religious battle going on in the UFC in there when there's like.
Are there ever fights where like particularly like fighters get more venomous?
Yes.
By a certain person
Cormier
because
Jones.
of different
Conor.
undercurrents.
Let me tell you a story.
Okay.
Right. So Conor McGregor. So that's his body on my face.
Yeah. So Conor McGregor is the skinny short king.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. He's now just doing loads of cocaine.
So what category is he in?
What weight class?
Yeah.
So he was 145 pounds first, featherweight, where he won the belt.
Featherweight, is that the lightest one?
No,
it's
goes
lighter.
Bantam.
So basically, the technique is you want to be in the lightest weight class possible, and then gain loads of weight, so you actually shouldn't technically fit in that.
Pretty
class,
much,
so
yeah.
that you can have the most.
So
chance of
exactly.
winning.
So he
exactly
trained
that.
himself to make 145 pounds.
Okay.
But then he stepped up to 155 pounds, where it was more suitable for his, his frame. But still, he could have probably fought he did fight at 170.
Yeah.
But anyway, he won the belt at both weight classes, so he was pretty good.
First to do it.
But then he had beef with a guy called Khabib, who we just mentioned. And obviously, in the press conference, it got a little bit racy. Conor made comments about Islam.
He brought up the Ali Abdi stuff as well. Like there's links with like slight terrorist organizations.
So is Conor McGregor like? Is he?
He's Irish, but yeah.
Right. So who is the
The other guy, Khabib's
Hang
Russian.
on. What's that footballer called?
Footballer.
I'm gonna ask a question, and it is who was the guy that did the free school meals that worked?
Marcus Rashford.
Who's the Marcus Rashford of MMA?
Good
I
question.
think all of them do charity. Like Conor McGregor actually does charity.
Probably Wonder Boy.
Wonder Boy. Wonder Boy is a good Christian guy.
Okay.
Loves the kids, even if
Who's
he
the
loses.
one setting the example?
Wonder Boy, I'd say.
Khabib sets an example.
Khabib does, yeah.
But he's had some discrepancies as well. For
Yeah, but
example,
not really.
No, but for example, like if you're a woman, for example, you might not agree with stuff like he
that's
says.
different. That's
Okay.
different.
And he did, to be fair, jump over a cage and attack whole of Conor McGregor's team, which maybe if you're a parent...
I was Dylan Dennis. He
Yeah,
was fucking up
yeah, but
good.
what
Yeah,
Conor
yeah.
McGregor did was way worse. The Dolly incident.
The
like-
Dolly incident.
I'll give you a highlights of how their beef started, right?
Okay.
So Conor McGregor's got a boy who was talking mad shit.
A boy? Do you mean a son or a
A
friend?
mate.
A
right?
teammate
He
of
was
his.
talking mad shit about Khabib's team on Twitter.
Because he's Russian.
Yeah, and they Khabib's team cornered McGregor's mate in a hallway at a fight. Right?
IRL.
Yeah, in real life.
Yeah, no.
And like kind of like slapped him on the face a little bit. McGregor jumped on a private jet.
With 30 other Irish dudes.
Yeah. He had, bearing in mind, right? He was in Ireland. This happened in New York. So he had an 11-hour flight to calm down.
He backs it though. You gotta give him that. He backs it.
And he didn't calm down.
He didn't calm down.
Backs it.
He turned up to the arena and then he threw like a trolley at a bus that Khabib was on.
It was full of
smashed the
fighters.
glass,
Full of
and
fighters.
the glass got in a female fighter's eye.
Yeah.
Other people had injuries.
Some
Wait,
people.
why are these people not like in prison?
He got arrested. He got
Got arrested,
charged.
a lot of money.
They got a lot of money.
Bail and all
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of fighters, had to pull their own fights because they had, glass in their eye and
Yeah.
Michael Chiesa. But and then there was a press conference, and when the fight, because obviously UFC booked the fight after that, they're like, oh, this is big, because. So basically, at the press conference, Conor McGregor and Khabib were there. And Conor McGregor had a new line of whiskey out, so he was trying to give everyone free whiskey. So he's like to Khabib,
Have a
"Want
drink."
whiskey," and then he's like, "I don't drink this shit, brother." And then
Called him a mad backwards cunt.
Conor's like, "You mad backwards cunt." So that's
Wait,
basically.
who called who a mad buck?
Conor
McGregor.
called Khabib.
You were mad.
The Irish dude called a Muslim guy a mad backwards.
And then he went, "Your wife wears a towel,"
Oh.
and yeah, it was. Do
dark.
you know what? This is the thing with McGregor. He did it to Aldo because everyone says he beat Aldo in like 27 seconds. He didn't.
Brazilian dude.
He beat Aldo months before when he said, "I'd ride into your favela and kill every man I seem unfit
But back then
for
it was
work."
considered cute.
Yeah.
But now when he crossed the Islam line, it was just like everyone pretty much.
I don't
It
think you
would've-
guys should be watching this.
It would
not good, it's not
would
good,
have
yeah.
worked. The thing is with the shit talk, I don't mind people going to that place with shit talk if it works. But with Khabib, it was in there, and there's like that clip where
Well, there's
Khabib.
shit talk and there's like hate crime.
Oh, but
Yeah.
like Jones Cormier is the greatest bit of shit talking ever. When Jones goes, "You understand if you came in here and did that, I'd actually kill you."
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that is the greatest. Like,
And then his
fucking-
comeback was over. You really think I'm just going to let you kill me, John?
Yeah, yeah,
Really, John?
yeah, yeah.
You think
No,
I'm
no,
just
no,
going to lay
no.
here and let you kill me, John? That's ridiculous, man.
John Jones is like the greatest ever fighter, but he's a complete psychopath.
Okay.
Like he is a genuine psychopath, and he kept trying to like
Useful, probably.
play this like Christian, like I'm this Christian nice guy narrative, and then the mask would just keep slipping and
Like,
slipping.
yeah, he plays like this Christian guy, but every now and then he's in the news for like running over a pregnant woman. Or like he just won during COVID. He got bored one evening, so went out in the street, started firing a gun in the air.
He beat his wife as well.
Yeah, he beat his wife.
as you
Yeah.
do. And then,
Yeah.
but then he'll be like at the next press conference, "How are you, sir?
Yeah. He tries
Thank
to.
God.
Oh, God,
How are
that's
you? Have a great
really
day, sir."
scary.
He's got the Bible tattoo as well.
Yeah, he's like the
Philippines,
most,
yeah.
he's most unchristian person.
But,
Well, it's really scary how people use Christianity as a mask for
yeah.
And
being
even in the UFC,
criminals.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even in the UFC.
So yeah, but back to 280, I think I think Oliveira, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu took a beating
did
that
it go
night.
the way you thought it would go?
Oh, bro, no, I thought Oliveira was gonna do it because I'm dumb and buying to hype. I'm like Charles the Bronx is gonna do it. He's the
I
guy.
don't believe it was just hype. Like I think you were right to think most people like we both picked Islam to win, but I understand the Charles argument because Charles actually his run of wins was amazing. But what we saw was that in every single fight he got dropped.
Yeah.
And even though Islam wasn't a decorated striker, we thought Islam would land something. But it was from a weird. It's like he did a double jumping knee and he missed, and then he got hit. It's like the worst way. Then he got, and there's nothing worse than when you get dropped and get submitted, and especially from Charles's point of view, when you're a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, it's like, damn, like
Yeah, you
that's
can't.
the way you were meant to win.
Yeah, he got. Yeah, what was it? It was a shoulder triangle as well, and when I think as well, like when his corner were going, "Oh, just throw that kick up the middle," and it's like that's your plan. Just throw a kick up the middle. There's no. When you hear a corner going like, right, you need to step off here. He's dropping his hand here. There was none. I don't know if it was lost in translation because obviously I don't speak Portuguese. But when the translator went, "Oh, just throw a kick up the middle," it's like,
And then what?
you're against a wrestler. You can't just throw
Yeah.
kicks willy. Like, what if he grabs one of the kicks?
Luke Thomas made a good point. he said Habib's team, Islam's team, came in with a plan, whereas it didn't really feel like Charles's team had a plan. And I think the reason why they did that, I can understand the philosophy behind that, because sometimes there's been this argument that opponents of Islam or Habib have over-prepared and gone away from what they're good at.
Yeah.
So maybe they thought, all right, we're just going to stick to what we're good at, but clearly that doesn't work either.
Yeah. What I was surprised about was how Charles was just shut down in every area.
Yes, he was beaten in every aspect of
him.
him.
In the clinch, he was shut down because he's the one who normally throws.
The clinch.
God.
The clinch is like two guys grabbing onto each other, right?
So like if I grab his neck
Like
and
a
like hold.
scrum.
It looks a bit like a scrum,
bit like a scrum.
and they're against the cage and they're jostling for position so they can take the other one down or to land like a sneak elbow or a punch.
So it's a domination thing.
Yeah.
It is essentially, yes. And it normally happens against the cage, and wrestlers are very good at it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they have-
Against the cage.
Against the cage is like its
Got
own.
hurt a
It's
bit.
it's its own martial art in a sense. Cage. When you're against the cage, like
Okay.
playing for position becomes its own.
And the Russians
thing.
are very good at it.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because they train it a lot. For whatever reason, they've just realized that using the cage to trap your opponent is very useful, and they've just become masters at putting their opponents against the cage and keep him in there.
So it's also so to put someone like Charles Oliveira against the cage, especially if it's on the ground, it's good because Charles is very good at submissions off his back. Like a lot of jiu-jitsu guys are good off submissions with submissions off their back. So if they don't have any space to move, they can't pull those submissions off. So they're basically just going to be stuck there and getting, ground and pounded.
But that's the thing as well, man. You're not gonna fucking catch someone like when he went to throw the triangles and stuff. I'm like, you're not gonna catch. Is your plan to catch?
He pulled guard, right? He
did pull
Yeah,
guard.
it- but
That
that
was if he did, that was I don't know.
He did definitely pull guard.
But that's
Yeah,
such an
he had to underhook.
insane thing to do against a wrestler. Do you know what it like? Guard such a advantageous position in just straight up jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I say this, there's probably people listening to this who are going to completely disagree with me. 90% of fucking jiu-jitsu is useless. It's only applicable against other bits of jiu-jitsu. Like, yeah, it's jiu-jitsu, once strikes are involved into it, becomes a completely different martial art. It will save your life, and like you'll be able to pull off a reversal from half guard or something, or you'll be able to pull off a sweep. But when you're holding someone in guard, usually the person, if I'm throwing strikes, if you pull me into guard, that is fantastic, because Cormier used to say half guard was his favorite position, because once someone would pull him into half guard, he's got way more balance. Like it's such a risky way to play the match against someone like Makachev. I thought Oliveira was shocking.
Yeah.
Like I generally thought
He was
bad.
Yeah.
Like, and
I think he knows it as well.
Yeah.
From his demeanor.
Even in the striking battle, like he was meant to be the better striker.
People don't realize MMA is the second biggest sport in Brazil.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah.
So in
What's the biggest? Football.
football, yeah.
Football, yeah.
So in Brazil, he's Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
So and they're a very proud people, Brazilian people. So it must be hard for him to take this loss.
Yeah.
It reminded me it actually reminded me of Gagey Khabib, where everyone was talking about this wrestling of Gagey we haven't seen.
Nullified.
We haven't seen his wrestling, and I was like, the whole time I was going like, yeah, but he was what a good college wrestler. You're up against Khabib.
Yes.
Like it's not college wrestling, and then Khabib's boxing was better than Gagey's.
Yeah.
And it was like everyone just
And he dropped McGregor too. They just do shit that no one expects.
People say stupid stuff. I heard someone on Twitter say the other day, imagine Khabib trying to pull that off on Bo Nickel. It's not that simple. In a straight wrestling match, yes. But guess what you can't do in a wrestling match? Elbow someone in the fucking jaw.
Yeah,
Do you know
yeah.
what I mean?
That top, to give a Dagestani
Thank you.
that top position as well. Like their whole thing that everyone says is like the pressure that is on you when Khabib is on you, when Islam is on you. Like it's, I just think Oliveira, like you were saying, it didn't seem like there was a game plan. It didn't seem like there was a plan A, B, or C.
No.
And that to go out the way he went out is.
Also, Islam's defense was great as well.
Did-
In every aspect, his defense was just in the striking distance, his, on the ground, everywhere. He just shut down Charles' whole game, like everything.
They studied him.
They studied him, yeah.
He's probably been dreaming about Charles for the last 3 months because
Yeah.
they've been talking about him so much. Islam's training camp cost $1 million.
Seriously?
Yeah, I heard they were training out in Abu Dhabi, weren't they?
And they invested $1 million into the training camp, which shows, and obviously
Just train him.
to just train him, which obviously is Khabib's money, right?
Yeah.
But I guess it was all part of father's plan.
Yeah.
That's another thing. I think the biggest winner of this fight is Abdul Manap's legacy.
Yeah.
Like what they've done now.
He's proven right.
2 champions. He passed the torch to Khabib. Khabib obviously made another champion, and then obviously they got this whole roster of other guys. You know, Abu Bakr,
Usman.
Usman that's the Bellator champ, right? Or he's not. He's gonna fight
fighting Patrici.
Usman Nurmagomedov, and another thing is now they obviously Bilal Muhammad. You know, he's also he's Muslim, so he kind of fits in. But he's actually he's an external American guy, right? So it's good to see that they're getting Americans now. So like they're adding the father's plan to like the rest of the world. That's just going to explode their team even more.
I have a few friends who are in wrestling, and since Khabib's rise, he said more and more people are just going to Dagestan to train.
Yeah. There's apparently at a lad who messaged me to say he trains at, I think it's Fight Factory, just like affiliated with him. He's like, there's a couple Dagestani wrestlers there, and he's like, bro, they're just fucking unbelievable. He's like if I got on the mat and so I was like, oh mate, where you from? And they're like, Dagestan. I'd be like, right, fuck this, I'm off.
Well, put it this way: if you're spending the weekend with your dad growing up, you would have played a kickabout.
Yeah.
Right? They wrestle.
Yeah.
They wrestle, and Khabib said you go to like your cousin's house or something, and then the dad say start wrestling.
Yeah.
Right.
He wrestled a bear when he was like 2.
They wrestled bears.
They wrestled bears.
Habib wrestled a bear as a child. Would you like to see it?
Yeah.
Do you mind pulling it up?
Yeah, Khabib wrestling a bear.
When he was 8 years
What kind
old.
of a bear?
It was a
baby
bear,
bear.
but still
a bear.
8 years old.
It is the most Russian thing that you will ever see. But their whole
So it's like really like it's in the veins of their culture, more than it is in the UK.
they
big
don't
time.
don't drink. They don't like if you look at it.
Crazy mountain.
Yeah, if they train at altitude, they don't drink. They follow like they're like very religious. They follow that to the letter of the law, and then they actually seem they're actually very progressive and good role models. Like if you look at that thing where they're crushing the beef with Kamzat, that's a very
Crushing the beef.
yeah.
8 years old.
So this is Habib wrestling a bear as a child.
God.
Yeah. Initial thoughts.
Oh, what a sweet little bear.
The bear is winning.
Yeah, the bear.
Habib is not undefeated. The bear
Khabib
clearly
saying?
won this.
What's Khabib saying as he's doing this?
Bravo! I smashed you, bravo!
Brother, what is it, jiu-jitsu, brother?
I love that.
Bear-jitsu.
I love.
Like they're attempting to get the
Bear-jitsu
muzzle.
means nothing.
I love that meme that someone made of him versus the bear now. But
Let's talk now.
but what did you guys make of Dillashaw Sterling?
Dillashaw Sterling.
Okay, so here's my perspective on that, right? It felt like another example of the new guy fighting the old guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything about TJ felt a little bit old. Do you know what I mean? He looked, by the way, I knew something was up with him because he looked terrible
He didn't
all
do
week.
open workout.
He didn't do
His
open
face was
workout.
puffy.
What's an open workout?
So open workout is like they basically, it's with fight promotion. They'll basically do their workout in front of like an audience, like a few days before the fight. It's just a part of the promotion.
Okay.
And I don't think he actually did
Almost
it.
like how footballers warm up on the pitch before.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. It's like a media opportunity.
But basically, his shoulder apparently was, what was the problem with his shoulders? He kept dislocating in camp.
He said
So
to
basically, he showed up to the fight with still the same shoulder, and within seconds, his shoulder popped out.
he said to Goddard before the fight, like, because you heard when Goddard went over his corner, he was like, "Oh, I know you told me in the back that something was," but his fucking whoever is in charge of him should have gone. You are not doing this fight until your shoulder's okay.
He's ruined his career now.
That team, it is your team's job to protect the fighter from themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's strapped for cash.
I think he might be.
Really, yeah, because he had a couple years off, didn't he? But
He had a terrible financially. I don't know his financial situation.
Yeah.
But he had a few things happen to someone. But I can imagine occurring in that order is terrible for your financial situation because he just started that clean juice business. With the money of being a UFC champion, obviously that went away because he had the drugs ban.
Yeah.
So still had to fund that business with no fighting income. And I think after 2 years, that's kind of caught up
And
why he
what
took the
what
fight.
happened to the business?
The business is still going, but
I didn't even know he had that.
yeah, but it's like okay, so UFC fighters don't get as much as you might think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of them can't retire after they finish fighting, and a lot of the times they're left with fewer options
Okay.
because they've foregone an education and they don't really know anything
Sure.
else.
Like a League 2 footballer.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they've all got
Good example, yeah.
they've all got CTE as well, so
Yeah.
they can't. Yeah.
Oh
Brain
fuck! So they
damage and shit, yeah.
become like Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah.
I mean, not so bad,
Right,
but
but-
that is an issue. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is an issue.
Doesn't surprise me.
No, well, you're getting kicked in the head for a living.
Yeah.
But so what happened with TJ is he was the former champion. He's only had one fight in 2 years because he had a drugs ban. You can't take performing enhancing drugs.
Okay.
He was
They
on
got banned.
EPOs.
What was he taking?
EPO.
EPO.
What's
So you take that to like promote the amount of white blood cells in your thing. So you're
More antibodies.
because he was trying to go down a weight, wasn't he,
Yes.
to become a
He
champion?
was becoming
So it's for the
anemic.
immune system.
Yeah, his body started shutting down, so
Yeah,
then he
anemia.
started taking EPOs. I personally think
a
my
good reason
thing
to
on the
take
drug is like they're all fucking doing it. So
Yeah.
he just
Well,
got
that
caught.
almost sounds like immunotherapy. Like it sounds like it's actually a good thing for.
it's the smart
Good for
thing
you.
to do.
The
health.
whole the lines are
It's an
completely
advantage.
blurred.
Yeah.
But then, where's the line between? Yeah, exactly. Where's the line between doing something like for your health, like a health problem?
So here's how a lot of fighters get away with these issues.
Mm.
So there's a lot of stuff that's on the ban list, right? So
Mhm.
for example, human growth hormone,
Okay.
right? Or testosterone boosting thing. But what you can do is you can get an exemption from your own doctor, not their doctor, your own doctor.
Private doctor.
A private doctor. So you can go to Dubai, get one of those fancy doctors to find the reason why you would need testosterone therapy, which obviously might give you a physical advantage.
It
with
used to
strength.
be a big thing in
Yeah.
2013, but they got rid of it.
TRT.
Yeah, TRT.
So they will test you for testosterone boosting drugs, but even if it comes up because you have a doctor's exemption, they can't flag it and ban you.
That's naughty.
Yeah. Oh,
It's very clever.
they're all. I mean, they're all probably doing it to some extent. I don't think there's anyone at that level of athleticism within fighting or
Aljo's
football.
on it. 1,000,000%.
Yeah, he's like 40. He's like 79. Like, of course, he's taking something to.
Yeah.
End of the day, I think TJ he shouldn't have taken that fight because now he's going to be 37. He's going to need surgery. His career's pretty much over. I also like it's just deceitful. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Like, you fucked up the odds. Like, because if he mentioned that, the odds would have skewed. So all these people betting money on TJ, all these fans.
He's lost a lot of
So
people.
you
a lot
lost.
of money.
You guys lost money on him, didn't you?
Ah.
I had Sterling by
Gambling is
submission.
haram,
I was so when he nearly tapped, I was like, yes, because I had Sterling by sub.
I didn't even think about the implication
Yeah.
of betting.
Yeah, he's.
Wow. Yeah,
Good
yeah, that's
thing.
a good point.
Good thing we don't gamble, right? But yeah,
I didn't have a shot before
like,
this.
Imagine if someone put like people do. They'll put like 100 grand on TJ, and they're like, "You weren't even."
You'd be
fit to
pissed.
fight. You weren't even fit.
I'd turn up to TJ's house if I put 100 grand on him.
Bro. Sterling as well. Like I feel bad for, but also has
People
there
are
ever?
betting 100 grand. Sorry, that.
Like in Vegas,
Sometimes
people
more.
will do
Yeah.
it like
Sometimes
millions
more.
sometimes. you know?
Drake put 800 grand on a fight recently.
Did he lose? He loses most of his.
He won that one because he put it on Paddy and Molly.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, clever.
There was as well with because Sterling, like I feel kind of bad for him, but has there ever been someone who's had the easiest fights like against the way he came champion against Jan, which I did think he was genuinely knocked out. Like if you knee someone on the head on the floor, they're fucking concussed. Like I did, but then Peter Yan in that second fight was wanted it too much. He didn't fight a Peter Yan fight.
Yeah.
And then fucking TJ Dillashaw turns up basically crippled.
Yeah.
Like,
But look how he smoked Sanhagen. He destroyed him.
yeah.
And no one does that to Sanhagen.
But despite that, let's recap that again. So, won the belt with a disqualification. First defense, arguably he lost.
I thought he won that fight.
Yeah.
The
I thought he won.
amount of time he spent on
Yeah.
Peter Yan's back.
I thought he won that fight as well. And the third one, the guy's shoulder pops out. I don't think anyone's had that kind of run of luck in
Yeah.
the UFC
Good luck.
ever. He's
I rate
made
it.
millions. He's made millions.
If you win a fight like that, what kind of
Oh, so
is
basically
it? The organization that pays you, or is it sponsorships?
both. So basically, what happens is, if you win a belt in the UFC, you are now entitled to something called pay-per-view
Is that
points.
a belt?
Yes, that is a belt.
There's
So-
also one there, a little one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can hold it up.
Yes, that's the UFC belt.
You are now champion.
Yes, congratulations, brother.
Who should I put it on?
Who's this girl, brother? Who will you bring this girl to talk UFC with me, brother?
And does it buckle at the back?
Yeah, the new ones look really cool.
Use it as a
Yeah.
ring.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's the old one.
yeah, that's it.
Notice.
Oh,
So
that's
basically,
the old one.
if you win the belt in the UFC, you're entitled to something called pay-per-view points. So when they sell pay-per-views, you get a commission on the number of sales,
Okay, right.
which really boost
Yeah.
your income
Sure.
because you're now a partner in the show. If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we didn't cover this, but what do you think's next for like the two champions now? Like, what's next for Islam Makhachev? What's next for
Volk.
Aljo?
Yeah, we know he's fighting Volkanovski, which
So
is a
Islam
complete
versus
mismatch
Volkanovski,
in my
yeah.
opinion.
Who do you think's gonna win that?
Oh, Islam, easy.
Yeah,
He's undersized.
Yeah,
I-
but
I-
Islam's
I-
gonna
yeah.
dominate.
That's gonna be a bad day for my boy.
Yeah.
what I
it's
like
not good.
about Islam's team is that they just know the future. They know the plan. The plan is just like, let's go get number one pound for pound. And they probably got a list of who's next. They're probably like, yeah, we'll take out Dustin, we'll take out Justin, we'll take out all of them. And then who knows, maybe they'll go challenge for 170 and do what Khabib didn't do. But
Well,
I like that.
Khabib is very clever at using his leverage with the UFC now
Yeah.
to get his guys into positions
Yeah.
and the Dana White privilege. Habib has the Dana White
probably
privilege.
they probably have a fighter for every weight class because now they got Bilal coming up,
Yeah.
and then they got like
Bilal's not winning the belt.
Bilal's not winning a belt, but
Yeah.
they
Not
still.
winning a belt.
But he looked great though.
He looked great, but he's not. Who's he
yeah.
beating to get that belt?
He beat
Ed,
Wonderboy.
I really want Edwards to dominate that division for a little bit. He's got the skill set to do it as well, man.
Headshot
like,
bang.
Yeah.
Headshot,
Listen,
bang.
as we're a
headshot.
UK, because we're a UK-based fan MMA podcast, we are now emotionally obligated to back British fighters. So
Yeah.
Leon Edwards all the way. And Leon, if you want to ever come on this podcast, mate.
I fucking love Leon Edwards.
Let's just go on a tangent. Like which UK fighters do you see getting a belt like Leon did? Do you see Paddy getting a belt?
No.
No.
Okay,
no,
Molly
Paddy
Molly
getting a belt.
Molly McCann. What's that?
No, but who's
Molly,
it? Who?
not now. Give her a year. I think she could.
Molly could definitely challenge for it. But who would she be fighting? Nunes? Who's in her division?
Do you want to look it up quickly?
Yeah.
Who's in the division?
Because I mean, Nunes and Shevchenko are the fucking.
She's got tough competition.
Yeah, Shevchenko's arguably.
She's not beating either of those people.
Yeah, Nunes
No.
is arguably the great is the one of the greatest fighters of all time, and as is Shevchenko, like you can't.
Yeah.
But
She's in,
Makayev, he's a British
Valentina's-
fighter.
she's in, yeah, she's in.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I think Mokayev has
Mokaev.
the best chance of becoming a champion for the UK, even though he does rep, obviously he reps Dagestan as well, but he fights mostly out of Manchester. I mean, that's the best. Obviously, Leon's already got the belt, but yeah,
He's a special talent.
Mokayev's the next guy.
Makayev's
Because he's
good.
22 years old, he's like 9-0 now, and he's great. He's
But
great.
Edwards is a very well-rounded game, and that's the thing is you go if Islam was to I guess that'd be an exciting thing if Islam was to step up to there. How does that go? That's interesting, but is his wrestling against us? Because would you go Usman v Islam? The wrestling wise, I'm still going to say Islam, but I'm going to be like, it's not going to be as fucking.
No.
It's not going to be a walk in the park.
All right, let me take Islam's name out of it and insert Habib's name. So Habib
I think
versus
Khabib-
Edwards. Who wins?
Khabib would win. Yeah.
So why couldn't Islam do the same thing as Habib to Leon?
He probably could.
He probably could.
Yeah, he probably could.
Yeah, but then as well that weight advantage, there would be a huge.
The only
difference.
thing I would say about Islam versus Leon is that it would be like in a striking battle, Leon could land that head kick
Yeah, Leon.
because Khabib wouldn't entertain that shit. Khabib would just take him down, but Islam might try and entertain it. And
Yeah, Islam seems much more willing to stand with his opponents than
Yeah.
Habib ever was.
that'll
Yeah.
probably be a detriment later, but for now it's working.
He could get stopped. He's been stopped in the UFC.
Yeah, he's been stopped a long time ago, so it's always there.
2015, yeah.
If it's happened once, it could happen again. But
Yes.
for now, they're plain sailing.
We need
They're
my.
gonna take out the entire division if he defends his belt. But these guys, they don't stick around long. He'll probably have 3 more fights and retire.
Yeah,
That's it.
we need.
Next
That's
guy.
what they do.
Need
How
my
often are they fighting?
A good champion should fight about 3 times a year.
yeah,
But when you,
Wow, that's not very much.
yeah,
No.
well,
it's
it
very
takes a lot.
it's very demanding on your body.
Some people on the come up, they'll do like 5 fights a year, maybe 6. Kevin Holland did 5 in a year once during the pandemic too, so it does happen. But
At that level, it's such a mental game as well. To
Right.
get yourself up for more than 3 fights a year, you have no breaks.
They're like marathons.
Yeah.
So Adesanya wants to do like 6 a year or something. He was saying he's going to be Eugene. What's his name? With City Kickboxing has to be up there as the best coach in that. Like he's
I think he's gone down a little bit now.
what the Dagestanis are doing for wrestling, the Kiwis and Australians are doing for striking. Like they're making striking exciting again.
Yeah.
Where and I know people complain about Izzy's fights that it's point scoring, it's this that. People are going in there to defend against a striker. He's a counter fighter. If there's not much to counter, what the fuck is he meant to do?
If you're a fighter and you're complaining about Israel Adesanya's style, do something about it.
Yeah.
Take him down if it's so easy.
Him v Pereira is going to be exciting. Pereira, that'll be.
So
I think Israel's going
City,
to stop him.
Speaking of speaking of City kickboxing, do you think Volk has any chance against Islam?
I don't think there's any chance.
So,
What's he going to do?
He does have a slight, like, I'd say Volk is one of the better strikers in the UFC. He, like what he did against Holloway, and Holloway is a phenomenal boxer.
That upset me.
The thing I see is Chad Mendes took him down a lot of times. Chad Mendes is 145. He's a smaller guy, and he took him down. He lost the fight, but he did take him down a lot. Islam could probably knock him out, take him down, but the one good thing about Volkanovski, not knock him out.
No, I doubt it.
Probably not, but maybe like ground and pound stoppage.
Yeah.
But Volkanovski, what's good about him is the leg kicks. That's pretty much it. But then again, he might get taken down from that. So
it's a big ask for Volk. It's a big ask, but fucking God up. Please, that's my boy. I love Volk. He's just he's so Aussie.
You know what's interesting about Alex, right?
yeah.
He didn't grow up doing this,
Rugby player.
and he's so good. I can't get my head around
Do you know
people
what?
like that, man.
I love his YouTube channel as well. The way he makes steaks.
Oh, he just cooks, don't he? Yeah.
Because it's not like comedy where you can start any age and potentially get really good. In my mind, this is something that you probably should start when you're in your teenage years or younger. But this guy, he probably didn't even watch it until he was in his 20s.
Yeah, but
Mental.
he came from an athletic background, and
And also, he was heavy as well.
yeah,
Heavy guy.
and as well that thing in rugby, like it's not you're not far. You're learning how to shoot when you're playing rugby, like
That's
you're shooting
true.
below the hips and stuff. So
And mental toughness.
yeah, so and you're gonna have some cardio on you and stuff.
So, what do you think's next for Aljamain Sterling?
Aljamain Sterling's probably going to fight Cejudo. Let's be real.
You think
yeah,
Dana
so-
did mention Cejudo,
Cejudo wins that.
but
I think Cejudo
if
wins that as
Cejudo
well.
doesn't come back, who would it be?
Well, it's
I'm-
going to be Sugar Sean.
But he doesn't want to do it.
Is that
It's-
a real name?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sugar
Sean
Sean O'Malley.
Sean O'Malley.
Nickname Sugar.
He's like the Tekashi 6ix9ine of UFC.
Yeah.
That does not make sense to me at all.
Johnny, if you could please, sir. Thank you very much.
He's very funny, Sugar Sean.
Yeah.
He's very
He's
funny.
he's like the new wave of fighters, like these gamers. It's like the crossover between
Oh,
gaming
Tommy
and MMA.
Fury.
No,
No, that's more
not
influencing. That's
Yeah,
more
yeah,
influencing.
yeah.
Right,
It's
Love Island.
yeah, no, Sugar Sean is a nerd.
Twitch.
Like he's a
Picture
proper.
Twitch
Like-
meets cage
Like
fighting.
this kind of.
I
Yeah.
don't want to do that in my head.
You're about to see it,
yeah,
and it's
Sugar
gonna
Sean.
make a lot of
But,
sense when
but
you see it.
also, so basically, before the fight, Dana said the winner of Peter Yan, Sean O'Malley, 100% will get a title shot. When they asked him,
What? I'm
Yeah.
really upset.
When they
I'm really
asked him-
upset now.
when they asked him after, is Sean gonna get the title shot? He's like, oh, I don't make fights on the.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's like, I don't do that.
well, did you see? I didn't see anyone talk about this. Sean's post-fight speech.
Yeah.
He was like, "Bro, he did not want to be in there with Peter
No.
Yan. He suddenly realised there was fucking levels to that because Peter Yan is a killer."
Okay. I wanna do a game, right? Let's start the Sean O'Malley versus Peter Yan section
Okay.
with I'm gonna go around the room and we're gonna say how we scored it, but no comment, and then we'll dive into it.
Right.
But do it by round. Go.
29-28 to Peter Yan
And by round?
by round.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Who won each round?
Oh, okay. So round one and two, Yan. Round three, O'Malley.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to really need to explain after you come to me. I had round 1s and 3 to O'Malley and round 2 to Yan.
Right.
But I'm surprised at the decision.
Yeah.
If I can explain in a minute.
I had the same as Elliot.
Yeah.
I had round 1 O'Malley.
Yeah.
Clearly
Clearly.
Yan number 2.
Yeah.
And then third, O'Malley. What did you have?
I had 1-1 to. I think it's gonna be a draw. I think it's gonna be
Right.
Not far
okay,
off.
yeah. I mean, it was very close.
I didn't think it was a robbery though.
No,
I thought round one was close enough to give it the other way. Like give it either way. Like Sean could have won. Jan could have won. I think round 3 was also close too.
It was not. People who are shouting robbery. Have you not watched a robbery before? Go to watch a boxing match.
Yeah.
Watch Josh Taylor versus Catterall. That was a robbery. You know what I mean? This was just 2 guys. It's 3 rounds. The first round, what do you like? You know?
Yeah.
You know they need to give more draw rounds.
Yeah, but this is the thing when everyone was talking about the takedowns, right? And he did score 6 takedowns, and that should count for something, which it didn't seem to.
Do much with them,
But that's the thing is everyone's like, look, he had 6 minutes of control time on the ground. Yes, but he was in Sean's guard or he was in half guard.
Yeah.
He wasn't taking the back and he wasn't in mount. He wasn't in side control. And if you're going to look at that, he's not technically in an advantageous position. I know we say being in someone's guard is for the striker, but Sean was holding him back with the guard. He wasn't landing many shots from that position. So it was just like, and then he got up and Sean was landing some excellent punches, but so was Peter. It was a very, when the fight ended, I went, I think Sean's going to win this.
Yeah.
But I think people just want to call it a robbery when it isn't.
It's definitely not robbery.
I feel like the problem with scoring is people don't. Okay, you can have your feeling on who won a fight, but how you feel a fight should be scored doesn't necessarily equate to how fights are actually scored.
Strikes count for more.
And it's done round by round. If it was pride rules, Jan wins, right?
Yeah.
Because the fight is, or one championship, because the fight is scored as a whole, right? But if you look at round 1 and you watch that objectively, O'Malley was in control of that round. He was dictating the pace where the fight was going. Apart from the minute and a half of control time on the floor, he seemed to be like the person who was imposing his game plan more in that fight, and he was landing the cleaner, more effective shots. Therefore, he won the first round. Second round, complete opposite. Third round, he cut him, and damage is the number 1 in the hierarchy of what they look for.
Yeah.
You know.
Also, I think for Peter Yan, like the way he was talking and him being ranked number 1 and O'Malley being number 11, he should have dealt with him easier than that. I think a lot of
The rankings are bollocks.
The rankings are bollocks, but a lot of Sean O'Malley haters are going to say, you know, he was going to get destroyed, blah, blah, blah. But he looked elite in there.
He did. He looked great.
He's definitely, he deserves to be there. He's top 3, top 5, like he's good.
He got taken to a place though, man, that he didn't want to be. Like I've never seen someone win a fight and there is the title shot there.
Yeah.
You just have to, basically all we had to do is go, I should be fighting for the title. And he just went, yeah, I'm going to have to watch the fight back. It was, you know, I don't know. And I was like, he clearly got taken to a place where he was scared.
It's good.
It's good, but, you know.
He looked his age for us suddenly, didn't he? He looked every bit of, how old is he, 27?
Yeah.
He looked like a 27-year-old again. Like, that guy was really tough.
I think Peter Yan as well is one of my favorite fighters to watch. Like he's an incredible boxer.
Out of interest, how old are you?
26.
26. How old are you?
28.
Isn't it mad that Peter Yan is only 29?
Yeah, it's 28.
Yeah, it's
But he
insane.
looks like he's 42, killed 4 people and got 7 mortgages.
He looks like Hasbullah as well.
Yeah, he's a little goblin, isn't he? Like, I love that they're like, he used to be a doorman in Siberia, and I'm like, because he's like 5'4", I'm like, God help the person who was a cunt to that 5'4".
Oh my God.
Like, I mean, I can take this guy.
Yeah,
next
and then
minute-
suddenly you're like, you're being buried somewhere in the desert.
But yeah, I don't think it was a robbery. And everyone's like, look at this thread of fighters coming out saying it's a robbery. It's like, fighters don't know half the fucking time. They don't know the rule set.
Yeah.
It's like when fighters like come out and talk about referees and it just turns out they don't know what the rules are.
Yeah.
I want to ask Bella something. Bella, do you know who Hasbullah is?
No. Oh yeah, I do. That little guy. That little guy.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, okay.
So he's big in the UFC world because he's friends with Khabib and Team Russia.
Really? So you've
And-
got friends in high places.
Yeah.
There's a clip. Have you guys seen the clip of, it was during one of the prelim fights and Hasbullah shouts instructions from
is it?
Rizza and he's like,
Oh,
And
fuck
he just
off.
punches everyone in the face.
Yeah.
They don't give a-
Hasbullah?
Yeah, he's a little,
Yeah.
he's
How old is?
he's 19.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so funny.
I love that guy.
He's so adorable, isn't he?
I want one.
You've got
This is my Hasbullah.
Mosbullah. But yeah. Yeah.
Right, lads. That's everything. What else you got on your list that you wanted to
Okay.
cover?
So, I wanted to cover. What do I want to cover? I don't know. What do you want to cover?
Let's wrap this up in a fun way. Bella,
Yeah.
what have you learnt today?
I've learnt that whatever you invest in life, there's going to be ups and downs.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Wait, there's obviously fights on the weekend.
Oh yeah,
Fights on the weekend.
we got
Arnold Allen versus Calvin Cater. Who you got?
Arnold Allen.
Arnold Allen.
I didn't even know they were fighting.
We're gonna back Arnold Allen. 'cause
We're going out,
I think
yeah.
he'll probably. Do you think he'll knock him out?
Yeah, I think Calvin Kattar's probably got CTE by now.
And
So.
also Anderson Silva versus Jake Paul.
Oh,
Jake's gonna win.
Oh, he's gonna win, and it's gonna
Jake's
be
gonna
upsetting.
win.
Paul is
The YouTuber,
the YouTuber.
Yeah,
He's gonna win.
and he's fighting an MMA legend who's now 48 or 50 years old.
Right, okay.
Jake's gonna win, man.
And it's gonna be terrible for everyone.
They have done such a smart thing by fighting MMA fighters.
Yeah.
So smart.
It's so bad for the UFC, by the
I
way.
want Anderson to
embarrassing.
win so badly, but I don't think it's.
He's not gonna win. He's a
But he's a
48-year-old
good.
man.
He's a good boxer. Though.
I'd have a
He's
bit of
better
a go.
boxer.
Against
Yeah.
Anderson Silva.
At this point, I might have a go. Do you know what I mean?
He's a good like.
He's a decent boxer.
He
Nah,
beat
decent boxer,
Chavez.
I mean,
He
like,
beat Chavez
big time.
Jr. though. He beat Chavez Jr. I know Chavez Jr. Everyone says he's shit and he's a disappointment to his father. but Anderson Silva, like what 2-0 boxing record, beat him, and that guy's got like what 40 fights.
But
Beat him.
this is the thing with Silva is like I remember after watching him used to was it Uriah Hall?
Yeah.
Yeah, he lost to Uriah Hall, and everyone's like waiting for Anderson to do his retirement speech.
Yeah.
And yes, forever, I'll come back stronger. And everyone's like, fucking retire.
Brazilian?
Just retire.
Yeah,
Brazilian.
bruv, I'm going to retire from the. And you want him to do that, and they're just like, no, I think I'll come back stronger, And
That's
everyone's
the most
like.
German Brazilian.
That's what they, they've got this jiu-jitsu, like
Brazil.
whenever you say it, like I once made the mistake of in front of some Brazilians calling him Renzo instead of Henzo, and they were all like, it's Henzo. I'm like, fuck.
It's like the difference between Khabib and Habib.
Yeah.
Comes up. Yeah.
You know, Jake Paul, right? Again, it's very clever what they're doing because they're fighting people who have iconic names, but who are way past their best.
And he's a decent boxer as well.
Yeah.
Like he's
Yes.
not bad.
He will beat a lot of novice professional boxers and journeymen.
What's a
Is he-
journeyman?
A journeyman, a guy who literally goes around and is paid to give prospects, or people who can genuinely have a great career in boxing, a good few rounds, but really and truly they're going to get their ass kicked, but they're tough. So
What a
let's
good name.
say you're a prospect, like you've just been to the Olympics in boxing,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm Dave from down the road who's had a couple of scraps and I've got a boxing license.
Right.
In your debut, they'll put you against me.
So I can beat you and look good.
You'll look good, and it will give you the opportunity to try stuff because you could beat me with literally just your jab, right, which is your lead hand. So you're like, I'm just going to work on my jab against this guy because there's nothing he can do against me. That's the job of a journeyman, is to give the prospects, the people who can genuinely have huge careers in boxing or MMA, the opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
And they get paid, and they can
That's quite
fight.
nice.
It is quite nice, but it's very dangerous.
Yeah, they've all got CTE and they're all
Yeah.
fucked up, and then
Okay.
they've had like 70 fights.
Do
And
any of you have CTE?
No, but I've got a good question.
probably I have got.
I've got a good question for you guys, and it combines the worlds of MMA and comedy. Where would you rank yourself in terms of fighting ability on the comedy circuit?
I reckon I'm third.
Third,
Oh no, I reckon
who?
I'm in the. I'm definitely in the top 5.
top 5. Who you got in the top 5?
Dave Longley number 1.
Right.
Dave Longley's purple belt in jiu-jitsu and about 110 kg of muscle.
Yeah.
Chris Kent, Irish comedian, had 15 amateur fights. Milo McCabe's a decent boxer, but I could beat Milo. Not at boxing, but in a fight, I reckon I could have Milo. I don't know. There'll be some like fucking open spot who's like a black belt that I don't know about.
Dom's got some fighting.
Dom
Have you met Dom
LTR. Shout out
LTR?
Dom LTR.
No.
He's got some. Did he do boxing or MMA?
MMA.
Is he
MMA.
decent?
don't
mean, he
know.
looks like
he
he
mentions
is.
it in his joke.
Yeah, is he
he's like a-
decent? Oh, fuck, because I'm hobbyist. I'm
I've
very
heard-
hobbyist.
Yeah.
I think Bella will fuck up some females.
Oh, where
Where
are
are
you?
you?
Where are you on the female list? Oh, this will cause some stuff. Yeah.
Okay, I think in the top bunch would be like Fern Brady.
Oh yeah, she looks.
She looks like she can have a
Fern
scrap.
deadlifts a bit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else is really
And she's definitely
strong?
headbutted a few men in bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else is like? I don't know. I feel
Catherine
like
Bohart used to do karate to a decent
yeah,
standard.
but she's too nice.
I bet Catherine's got a bit of the killer in her, like
Yeah, I reckon Helen Bauer could fuck up someone.
Helen. Yeah.
Tanya Moore.
Tanya Moore.
Edit
would.
that out.
Tanya Moore could
Doesn't-
scrap, I
think
reckon.
Sakisa did wrestling.
Yeah.
Did she?
Did she?
Yeah, that's
Pro
one of
wrestling,
them.
but yeah, she did wrestling.
I don't reckon there's many people I could actually beat. I'm not very strong.
Oh, I tell you who you
Like-
didn't think about. Fucking Nabil.
Yeah.
I've fought Nabil before.
Have you?
Have you?
Yeah, he trained at my gym.
What, like sparring?
Yeah, kickboxing.
What about like a pure like grappling and he could just like sit on you?
I'd be interested to see how it would go.
Yeah, 'cause
I would,
he's
but
huge.
he's big. He's a big
Yeah.
lad. So he's a good,
Yeah.
good fighter. But like, I'm confident in my ability.
Yeah.
But I think like he would in a street fight he would kill me.
Kay looks like he can fight, but he's got a joke about that. He's like the stereotype about Kurdish people is that they can fight.
Yeah, that's his.
Yeah.
But
Bella is the only one you'd want to call out for a fight. Any female comedian that's just pissing you off at the moment. This is your platform.
No, I'm against fighting. Because you asked me before.
After a 1 hour, podcast of fighting, I'm against
I love
fighting.
that
You
Bella-
asked
like
me
it.
before. Have I ever fought someone? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's save it. Who do I want to fight? I just don't want to do it. I chicken out. I don't want to do it. But I have keyed a few people's cars.
that's always the thing with like guys. Is it straight up? There's a fight and it's done. And women,
Yeah.
it's like 20. It's
I'm
like
gonna
fair.
emotionally manipulate
I'll-
you for decades.
I'll give you an eating disorder.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
punch
yeah,
you in the
yeah.
face.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good.
I'm gonna say something that you think is a compliment, but then you're thinking about it for the next 2 years.
It's like Mean Girls.
You know?
Mean Girls. That's in. Oh my god, I love your bracelet. Where'd you get it?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the film Mean Girls, right, made me terrified to go to secondary school.
Really?
It made me fear high school girls. And I remember on my first day of year 7, like I was just sat next to this girl and she just said hello to me and I just like panicked.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't get Regina George out my mind. I feel like every man needs a Regina George once in their life.
Yeah, sure.
Just to teach you, you know, about like, you know.
It's true.
Oh, I think of someone
Life.
else who could beat me probably. Ben, what's his name? He used to do MMA.
I think a lot of people would batter me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Anyone who does done anything to more than like I've trained. I boxed since I was 16 and I'm awful at boxing. My boxing sucks. My kickboxing is adequate for a hobbyist.
Yeah.
My grappling is fine for a hobbyist. This is all hobbyist level. If anyone with even the slightest inkling of wanting to actually train to a decent standard, you are already better than me by a mile because I smoke 20 cigarettes a day. But I'm trying to think. That's a good question. I'd love to fucking, do you know, there's just some comedians I'd love to batter.
Should we organise this?
Like there are just some people I'd love
Has
to
there
just...
been there was a white collar comedy
Yeah, I
event.
thought Adam Rowe.
How'd it go?
I fucked him up.
Yeah, satisfying.
Would you guys rank yourself in the top 100 of comedians
I've done boxing.
being funny?
I've done
I'm way out of that. That I'm less confident about.
I've done boxing since I was 10, 11. So I think I'd be fairly good. But the other stuff, as soon as it hits the ground,
Have you
probably be in
had a boxing match before?
I had a few at uni and I had quite a few in secondary school.
Sweet, yeah.
And I was mixed. My brother was a lot better than me.
But you still have like the thing of like you know how to push through an adrenaline dump and things like because that's the thing that most like if I was giving advice like to people or mates I have who were doing like I was talking to Andrew Ryan on a weekend who's like doing a comedian's boxing match thing in Ireland and he was like I'm going to do this. I'm like bro, everything you think you're going to do you're not going to do.
He was there when I had an adrenaline dump at a fight. Do you remember that?
What's an adrenaline?
That was
dump?
bad.
You
that
just
was
put
bad.
everything into what you do. Your adrenaline just goes and you put everything into it and then you gas
You're
out
just
immediately.
out. People are talking. I remember in between a round, my coach was talking to me, and it was like, you know, like this is like his mouth was moving, but I wasn't hearing anything.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you're so kind of into what's going on. The adrenaline kicks in, and I came out to Still Dre, which was a mistake because it was too
Pumped up.
pumped up. And
Yeah.
I got too pumped up.
I used to listen to rap before a fight, and now I can't do it. I have to listen to Kylie Minogue.
You know what's interesting, right? So I've sparred a few people who've like fought on Eddie Hearn cards,
Yeah.
right? So I sparred a guy called Johnny Johnny something, right? I've forgotten his name now, right? Johnny Phillips.
I thought
Johnny
you were going to say Fisher.
No, he's huge, right?
Yeah.
Johnny Phillips, he knocked out Chris Eubanks' son, Nathaniel Wilson, right,
Yeah.
at Wembley, and he was well known for it, right? So I sparred him, and he battered me,
Right, yeah.
right? And he was almost like polite about it. Like he kind of like, he realized that I wasn't in this, so he started walking me around the ring a little bit and giving me a time to breathe.
Keep your guard up, man. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, and then throwing the odd body shot in there. He fought Hopi Price on an Eddie Hearn card during the pandemic. And Hopi Price, he's the youth Olympic gold medalist, Gypsy Kid. Unbelievable fighter. Hopi Price made him look silly.
Yeah.
Right? So in that fight, while I was watching that fight, I was like, what would he do to me if that guy did that to me? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
There's levels, man.
There's like when I've fought like people who fight amateur, as in like I've sparred with them in the gym, and you could keep up with them for a round or two, and then they'll go, they can just zoom off into that, into that other realm. And then you sometimes go watch them get knocked out first round, and against someone who's not even pro.
Yeah.
And then that person gets knocked out. Like you think about the best person in
levels.
the best person in your gym probably isn't even the best person within the fucking postcode, like a lot of the time. Like it's so, and people, that's why when they talk about fighting, they're like, oh, well, I'd go in and do this. I'm like, you wouldn't do shit, man. You'd eat that first leg kick and your world would change.
Three things that men, you'll probably agree with this, right? The three things men overestimate about themselves is the three Fs: football, fucking fighting.
Yep.
Everyone was a footballer till their knee injury. Everyone's like, mate, in the scrap. If I see red, mate.
ASL.
What's that?
It's the
ACL.
ACL.
Oh, my
People
ACL.
are like, oh, my
Right.
ACL.
Yeah,
ASL's age sex leg case.
Yeah.
Right, should we wrap this up?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for
Any
having me,
closing
guys.
thoughts?
This has been really fun. I've really enjoyed this.
Hugely enlightening.
Have you learned quite a bit?
Yeah, too much. A lot of it against my will.
Plug yourselves, and where can people find you if they want to come see a show or follow you guys on Instagram?
I've got a podcast I do here called BTEC Philosophers that Bella was meant to be doing today, except my co-host told her the wrong day. Unfortunately, I was here about to do it, to do an MMA podcast, which we'll have you on very shortly. I'm very, very sorry about that, Bella.
I'm doing the round. I'm just going to turn up every day and see what podcast I can get on.
I can't wait to see one free speech.
Yeah.
Bella, you're just going to show up at the doors. What's on today? A far right podcast. I'll do that.
Yeah.
That sounds nice. Where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Bella Bella Hull. I have a podcast with Jacob Hawley called Last Night Out. And
Wicked.
Cool.
Where can they find us?
And TikTok.
You can find us on the Punchline Poddy on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter as well, I believe. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow, and send us a love letter. Thank you.
Thanks.